threatening our lives, leaking addresses out there, putting crazy pictures that
nobody's linked her address. Shut the fuck up.
If Caitlin Clark doesn't step onto that floor, then you're not playing another single second, either. Those were the exact, unhinged words that reportedly echoed through the locker room corridors as Sophie Cunningham completely lost her composure. The WNBA appears to be spiraling into chaos today. What began as a brutal and dangerous incident on the court has now allegedly escalated into a full-scale confrontation behind closed doors. For the first time since the controversial incident involving Caitlin Clark, Alyssa Thomas finally stepped forward to face the media. But instead of expressing remorse or apologizing for the play, which the league reportedly reviewed as a serious flagrant foul, Thomas stood before the microphones and strongly defended her actions. She claimed it was simply a normal basketball play, insisted there was no malicious intent, and suggested that Clark was making too much of the situation in an attempt to draw a whistle. But then came the development that sent the situation into overdrive. Just hours after Thomas' press conference, reports from the Indiana Fever training facility allegedly revealed that Caitlin Clark had been removed from full practice because of a serious back injury. The footage has only fueled the controversy. During the sequence involving Thomas, Clark appeared to twist awkwardly as she came down, potentially aggravating an existing back issue. Team medical staff reportedly stepped in, and Clark was subsequently sidelined while her condition was evaluated. She was hurting, she was unavailable, and yet the controversy surrounding her continued to grow. That was the moment when Sophie Cunningham reportedly snapped. Witnesses inside the building claimed Sophie became so emotional and furious that security personnel had to intervene. She later went on air and strongly criticized Alyssa Thomas in front of millions of viewers. Sophie called Thomas' actions a disgrace to the sport and argued that you cannot target a generational superstar, leave her injured, and then publicly dismissed the seriousness of the situation. Her warning was clear and unprecedented. If the league refuses to protect one of the biggest stars in women's basketball, the players may be forced to speak up for themselves. Looking directly into the camera, Sophie delivered a chilling message to Thomas, saying that if Clark's back injury keeps her out of the next game, the situation could become even more explosive.
Only make sure Thomas never sees the court
I'm in Texas. Why would I know? I mean, I'm asking a question. So, guys, I keep telling you guys, you don't hate the media enough. Sophie Cunningham just kept it real about the Phoenix Mercury organization.
You know what? Some people feel that.
Wow. Wow. People that work for the Mercury, Grant Young posted this. I'm going to give him a shout out. Blind squirrel finds nut. People inside the Mercury organization can't stand this team. Rude. Unprofessional. Not friendly.
Think about the sheer chaos unfolding behind the scenes right now. For months, the tension inside the WNBA has been building like a ticking time bomb. Night after night, Caitlin Clark steps onto the hardwood and faces intense physical play, hard contact, and controversial incidents involving veteran players who, according to critics, seem to be operating under a completely different standard. Whenever fans raised concerns on social media, they were often dismissed as being overly sensitive. When analysts highlighted what they considered dangerous patterns on national television, the league responded with broad statements emphasizing the physical nature of professional basketball. But tonight, the entire narrative appears to have shifted. Alyssa Thomas walked into a press conference, defended her actions, and portrayed the incident as nothing more than ordinary basketball defense. She seemingly expected everyone to accept her explanation and move on. What she may have underestimated, however, was the intense reaction from Sophie Cunningham. Now, the potential legal, financial, and public relations consequences of this media storm are beginning to create even more pressure around the league.
What means so much to me, quote, just the whole narrative that's being painted out there. It's unfortunate that it's come to this over basketball.
I'm crazy. The playing the game, being suspended, just the whole narrative that's being painted out there. It's unfortunate that it's come to this over basketball. A lot of us, myself included, didn't even know the play took place until after the game, and now we're being painted as thugs and there's death threats out on us. So it's really unacceptable. It is something that needs to change in this league, and I'm just really sick and tired of it.
You are a thug, Alyssa Thomas. You're a thug. You're a dirty player. You're a nasty individual. You put a fist in Caitlin Clark's throat and a knee in her groin, and you're going to act like, oh, I didn't even know that took place. I didn't even know that happened, as I'm diving onto her and using my fist as an arm cushion to get up. Oh, I didn't even know that happened. Oh my gosh. The narrative.
Behind closed doors at the front office, the situation is reportedly pure chaos. Emergency board meetings are allegedly being called late at night, phones are constantly ringing, and high-priced corporate lawyers are scrambling to determine how to manage the enormous public relations crisis. Corporate sponsors are growing increasingly concerned because this locker room conflict is no longer being viewed as a normal athletic rivalry. The controversy has reportedly expanded into heated verbal exchanges and serious allegations of physical threats. Brands that invested millions of dollars into the WNBA this season could reconsider their support if significant disciplinary action is not taken against those involved. Now, look closely at the medical situation surrounding the Indiana Fever. A serious back injury for a guard who depends on speed, quick changes of direction, and precise shooting mechanics cannot simply be brushed aside. Medical professionals understand that rushing Caitlin Clark back onto the court too soon, simply to satisfy television audiences, could potentially create additional problems and jeopardize her long-term career. Fans are understandably concerned. Ticket demand for upcoming games could be affected if Clark is unable to play, and the league knows how important her presence is to attendance, television ratings, and overall business momentum. Yet, critics argue that Thomas appeared to downplay the seriousness of the controversy while portraying herself as the target of unfair public criticism. Sophie Cunningham drawing a line in the sand could change the conversation surrounding player dynamics in the league. She did not merely speak for herself. She appeared to represent everyone who believes controversial or dangerous plays should be properly addressed. Her emotional reaction on television was raw, intense, and completely unfiltered, by suggesting that Thomas should not play if Clark is sidelined. Sophie introduced an unusually confrontational element into the situation. The players' union has remained largely quiet, while the controversy continues to raise questions about locker room stability and league discipline. Right now, the WNBA appears to be facing an enormous amount of pressure. Calls for the commissioner to consider disciplinary action against Alyssa Thomas, both for the original foul and her subsequent media comments, are growing louder. This is no longer being discussed as simply a bad game or an aggressive basketball play. For many fans, it has become a broader debate about player safety, accountability, and the integrity of the sport. The next 24 hours could have a major impact on how this controversy develops. Now, we want to hear from the real basketball community. Was Sophie Cunningham justified in standing up for Caitlin Clark, or did her emotional reaction go too far? This is the moment for fans to make their voices heard. Drop your honest, unfiltered opinion in the comments below. If you support Sophie Cunningham for speaking out against what you believe were unfair or dangerous plays, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Stay tuned, because this controversy is far from over.